Get that popcorn ready.
Butter it up.
We going live.
What is up, Defects? Live on a Monday night. What a weekend. What a day. The Rangers are on. We got two special guests talking more CGC. But before, and a big giveaway tonight. We got a nice giveaway tonight. We got a lot of stuff to cover. In a short amount of time. So let's just get right into saying what up to the fellas. Guy Forge eating his popcorn down there. He's getting ready for this show because it's going to be a good one.
What's up, buddy?
How you been?
I'm all right. I'm excited. We got two cool dudes coming on. The Rangers are on. They tied the fucking games. Let's go. I'm excited.
Excited to be here.
I'm gonna go like this. My head's gonna be on a swivel, guys, for the next 17 minutes. So you know what? Let's go Rangers. Let's go Defects. Butch, what's up?
What is up, guys? Like Matt and Guy said, two special guests on tonight. Guys, old school collectors that actually know what they're doing, that we always see at shows, that I always admire the way they dig through their back bins and do their hunting. So super excited to have them on. CGC back in the news, guys. We all know it. I don't know what's going on, man, but I'm super excited. Like I said, we have a dope giveaway for everybody in the chat. So I'm ready to get this right now. I will not be on any shows moving forward as long as the Rangers are playing. So you better hope they're not playing on Monday nights because I will for sure not miss another game.
This is coming from the guy that on Saturday night watched 30 seconds of the Ranger game.
I don't remember any of those
everything
30 seconds.
but watching the Ranger game.
Just so we're clear, okay? So we're clear. He watched me and Guy are watching the game. I look over at Jay. It's like the second period. I'm like, has he watched any of the game? He's like, I don't even think he knows where he is right now. I'm like, yeah, it's a good point.
You looked at Jay. Jay was nowhere to be found in the room.
I was hosting a party at my house, man. I had
you were
to
doing
be social,
something.
make everybody feel welcome.
Yeah, we felt very welcome. It was a great time.
It was awesome. No, I had a blast. Now listen, you guys got it. If you want to be at the next the Butcher, I feel like you need like the Butcher Unlimited, the Butcher Worldwide, or something like that. He throws a little party. It's good, man. Yeah, so you got to message him if you want to be invited to the next one.
Yeah.
I feel like we should raffle off a couple spots.
And UFC. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be good. And I've been saying it the last like 3 Monday nights. Every time we go off air or Tuesday morning, something happens. And sure enough, last week, same thing. There was Jonathan Majors news pretty much as we were going, something dropped. And then CGC had a big drop Tuesday morning. So the streak continues. We'll see if get your have your feed ready for tonight because I feel like something else is going to happen again tonight. But let's do the sponsors before we bring the guests in. Butch, let them know.
First up, our buddy Erod 212 with Express Comic Book Pressing for all your pressing and cleaning needs. Erod's nice enough to pass his discount on from CGC and CBCS. Also, Defects 10 gets you 10% off. The best in the business, guys. Hit up Erod, tell him the Defects sent you.
There you go.
And next up, Mutant Beaver Comics, one of the world's largest online retails for exclusive variants. If that's your thing, Defects 10 gets you 10% off. These guys ship worldwide. That's right, worldwide. Defects 10, 10% off. Tell Pat and the B-Man the Defects sent you.
Pretty good, Jay. Pretty good after a long weekend. I'm not going to lie.
You ain't kidding.
Not going to lie. All right, Jay, it's your show, baby.
All right, guys, without further ado, two guys in the community. You guys know these guys. My man Morbius and my man PJ Morris, the raw dogs of the community. These guys don't want nothing to do with CBCS, CGC, no slabs at all. They crack them out. They keep them raw. Guys, thank you for joining us. Long overdue. Can't wait to get your guys' takes on everything that's going on with CGC. And I'm going to start right off the bat with Morbius, man. And guys, if you don't know Morbius, his link's in the channel. Check him out, guys. These guys put on a hell of a show. Veterans in the comic community. They know what they're doing, guys. start with you first, Morbius. Keep them raw. Why?
Oh man. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show, man. Appreciate you for real, for real. Salute to every one of you, man. And why? Why raw? Why raw? To me, it's like, how can you not have it raw? You know, as somebody who's a reader, you know, to me that's primary, you know what I mean, is having my books raw so that the accessibility of them. And I know people are like, hey, I could read them digitally. But you know what? To me, it's somebody who has been reading since 10 years old, you know, and has been collecting since I was 10. You know, it's almost like it goes hand in hand. You know, the raw book and you're reading it and you just enjoying it, taking it in, the smell of the book. You know what I mean? That's another thing. You know what I mean? It's nothing like walking into this room and you just get that woof of fucking, you know, rawness. Is like, I love it. You know, so it's a lot of nostalgia to it, and it's also just the way we grew up. You know what I mean? It's just a thing that I kept true, you know, to it, you know, and of course when Slabs came around, it was like, okay, what's this about? You know, but after everything that we'll get into a little later on, I guess, more details of why I just avoided Slabs itself, but why I do Raw is mainly because of that. That's what I grew up. That's how I grew up. You know, my older brothers had all these books out. That's first time I got introduced to X-Men was my brother's collection. You know, he had all the fucking Silver Age books out, and I'm just like, wow. And he told me, don't touch this shit. I'll punch in your fucking neck. Don't touch my book. I used to be like, okay, first of all, why my neck?
Sounds about right.
Why you got to punch me in my neck, though? It's like, he would always tell me that I'll punch you in your fucking neck. I'd be like, why my neck? But anyway, you know, so just the fact that, you know, it was just like this thing that it's like, oh, it's unattainable to me. And then when I'm able to get mine, I cherish them just the same way. You know what I mean? And I think that had a lot to do with is how my brothers raised me on collecting and how to appreciate the books for what they are, you know, because we never grew up with that mentality of it being money based. You know, it was just completing, you know, books. You want to finish this story. You want to see what happened next, you know, and to do that, you got to read them and collect them.
Gotta respect it.
So it's like that's where that came from. But that's my take on the short end of it, of why I gotta fuck with my raws. You know, I just have to have them raw.
Now, do you do the cleaning and pressing thing and keep them raw, or you just avoid that totally?
No, I mean, if I can, I would. Don't get me wrong, because I love to have my books as clean as possible. That's another, you know, I guess, like, you know, misinterpretation of guys like us that love raw. They'd be like, oh, you guys got beater books. Like, nah, man. You know, I love don't get me wrong, I've upgraded a lot of books, but I just have to have them clean. I gotta have them sharp. You know, it also takes you back to, you know, seeing them as when you was a youngster, these nice, clean, sharp books that now is so rare. So to have them clean and sharp is almost like you're preserving that history. You know, you're taking care of them. I see us more even beyond comic collectors. We're like, you know, historians, like, you know, we're preserving these books, you know. 100%. It's like when we get past that point, after a certain level, you know, you're no longer collecting comics, you're preserving these comics. You're preserving history, you know. So I think that's where the level that, you know, when you look at it from that standpoint and you really enjoy for what they are, and it's like money is like, and that's like the bonus for us, you know what I mean? That's like the cherry on top, you know what I mean? You tell me, oh yeah, the books are great, it's amazing, and then I'm like, oh, but they're worth money, and it's like, okay, that's cool. But that's not the incentive, you know what I mean? It's like that's just the cherry on top. We're not gonna deny and act like, oh yeah, they're not worth nothing. Like, we're not gonna do that. You know, we get it. We understand that over time they gained value, but that's not the incentive of why we chase books. You know, but that's why we, you know, that's why I read my raws. You know, that's why I like them raw, because it's just that nostalgic of it, of just having them there. And always ready at hand whenever I want to pull it out and read it, I can read it, you know?
When you walk in the room, do you sing?
I dance, actually. I dance. You know what I mean? I do a serious shit, man. One day I'll record it for you, bro.
All right, good. That's all I want to know. That's all.
I got you, bro.
Now over to you, Paul. I know back in the day, you used to have some slabs, but that
I did see
that
most of these. So some of these are ones I bought slab with the intention of cracking, like after I had my my awakening, I guess. But at one point, I was picking up a lot of slabs. So Morbius, you know, he's more true to the game than me, I guess. He never got seduced by the slabs a little bit. I do confess I did, you know, for a minute, but it was mostly like basically a lot of my big books, like my X-Men 1, I got from a local dealer. Then we ended up kind of becoming friends, and he let me trade to get it, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, he eventually talked me into getting, like, my Hulk 181 I've had since the 90s, my Giant Size X-Men 1. He basically talked me into getting those graded. So
Right. Yep. Now
that kind of got me down that path a little bit. He was like, "Oh, you should get your bigger books graded, and this and that." So, I kind of got sucked into that a little bit. But then what I realized is when I'm going through all my books, the box I had full of slabs, I never looked at it. Those books were like dead to me. I had no interest in like looking at this plastic. I don't know, just I can't enjoy books slabbed.
Yep, I know, I get it. Now, from like buying a big book standpoint, and this is a question for both of you guys. You ever just play it safe and buy the slab already graded so you know exactly what you're getting and then crack it out, or is it just strictly raw from the beginning to the end?
Paul, you wanna go? I'll let you
like I said, any of these books I bought the last couple of years that was slabbed, only if it's like price, only if it makes sense. Like I'm not too concerned about like, I need to buy it slab to make sure it's complete or pay. Because let's be honest, if you buy shit on eBay or most places, you're like covered. You could send it back. Like you get your money back. So I prefer to buy bigger books like that in person so I can thumb through it and I can inspect it myself, I guess. But I don't think I've ever bought a book slab because I was concerned. Like I needed to make sure the book was complete and that type of stuff. I'm probably naive in that regard, but.
Well, I mean, not really, because I mean, we've talked about CGC a lot over the last few months on this channel, and one of the things that we talked about was, the books inside the slabs being either faked, right? That was one show. We talked about a book getting cracked out and then coming back with a whole page cut out, right? A quarter of the page cut out. We've talked about, and everybody has examples online of, books getting either graded too high or too low. So that CGC, that guarantee, hasn't been worth much, in some people's eyes. Granted, we're talking about small examples. I'm sure they get it right more often than they get it wrong, or else they probably wouldn't be in business still, right? But so to your point, PJ, that I don't think. I think you're not. I think it can go both ways. I think you could buy a book raw and say, because I want to know what I'm getting, and you could say I like to buy a book slab because then I know the grade. So I think both of those arguments hold equal weight. That's my,
I would say they don't have enough consistency from what I've observed to like. My biggest thing with the slab things is, because I get it, if you're not as experienced or maybe you don't know what you're looking for, you feel more comfortable buying a slab. But the thing is that the price discrepancy, which you guys talked about, the raws coming up, is it shouldn't be like 2, 3, 4 times the price just for some. I mean, let's be honest, we don't know any of the graders, right? Nobody knows who works.
Some random dude just said this is what it is.
I've been collecting comics 40 years, but I gotta entrust my whatever, my FFI, which is, whatever it's worth, it's a pricey book. I gotta trust whatever they're gonna grade it at and how they're gonna handle it. And it's like I don't know. I just feel like it's if someone wants to pay a little bit for that peace of mind, so be it. But these guys that'll pay like outrageous, obscene amounts of money because CGC graded it, to me, that's just dumb.
And I like you said, trust, because trust is going to be a big topic tonight with something that a viewer sent in to us about 2 weeks ago that I just wanted to do some price checking on it, but we'll get into that
definitely
in a little bit.
You want to talk about the changes with CGC? You want to get into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I would love to get these guys' takes on that, because I think it's gonna hurt. I think it's gonna hurt CGC customers even more than shit's already been hurting CGC customers. But we could get into that. Go ahead, Matt. Take that away.
All right. So like I said, there was a little bit of CGC news Tuesday morning. I predicted it, and we got a little something. And at first, it didn't seem like it was too bad. I think most people were, saying that it was kind of like a nothing burger. So I kind of did a little breakdown as to what's there versus what the changes are. I should have looked it up. I believe the changes take effect May 21st or 31st, and your books you can submit on the old form and the old prices as long as your books get there before like the first or second week of June. Maybe somebody can confirm that in the chat for us. I should have done that earlier. We could swing back around to that. But so some of the changes, there was changes to everything, magazines, this, that, and the other thing. I just did comics. That's pretty much basically what we talk about here. So starting right off the top with moderns, currently you got a max value of $400, which they've been cracking down on that max value a lot more than they were 2 years ago. But we'll get into that a little bit in a bit. The fee per item is $24. The fast track is an extra fee, and that's turning around at about 20 days right now. So the modern tier went up by $1. It's going to go to $25. I don't think that's going to really change anybody's mind about getting graded. Now, we already had a price bump not too long ago. We've actually had 2 price bumps, I feel, in the last 12 or 14 months. So if you add them all up, then yeah. But if you're just basing it off this last one, it's $1. Economy tier, same thing, $400. You got your fee in there at $35 currently, 30-day turnaround. That economy name is changing to vintage, which sounds a lot better than economy. And they're changing that fee by $2, and that's going to $37. So far, nothing crazy, right? Up and down the panel, nothing really to worry about. $1, $2. So
yeah, it seems like short increase, I guess, not breaking the bank.
Right.
Yeah.
Next up, we have standard, and standard is basically $1,000 or below for the value of the book, and that's $80 for the grading fee, and that's a 10-day turnaround. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. And the standard tier is now going to be changed to the high value tier, and the fee is changing by $5 to $85. So again, nothing crazy, could be, now you're starting to get to, when you start to get to $5 and $10, now it's starting, it would add up, right? But again, these are bigger books. However, in the aftermath of 2021, there's a lot of books that are over $400 and less than $1,000, right? So you'd be surprised that more books are going to fall in that range than you would believe. And I've heard a lot more from 2022 forward that CGC is making corrections on submissions based on value, right? And again, I want to get into that at the end of this and get everybody's take on it as far as tier values based on when you get it graded versus when, if you got it graded in 2021 versus what it's worth now, right? So we could talk about that in a minute. The express tier. Now, here's where the biggest changes come into play, and I don't think a lot of people saw it at first. We posted it up on the Pressable IG about 10 minutes later once we kind of digested all this. So the express tier, which is basically 3,000 or less currently, okay? Quick turnaround, 5 days, it was $130. That tier is no longer available. It's discontinued, okay? So now everything above standard is going straight to walkthrough. Okay, so while you used to have a 3,000, 1,000 to 3,000 range, which covers a good amount of books, right? That is now gone. Okay, so now the walkthrough, which they're changing it to, they're going to call it unlimited value now. It was originally basically more than 3,000 and a 3% of the fair market value of that book. That determined the price. That was usually saved for your X-Men 1s, your FF 1s. Those were the books that mostly fell into that walkthrough tier. And they had a $150 minimum. Well, the $150 minimum didn't change, but the 4% did. However, if you're submitting a book that's less than $3,000, that 4% is not going to take you up to $150. So now that 130 in Express has now gone up to 150. So about a 16-17% increase, which is fairly large. Granted, we're talking about bigger books, but that adds up. You submit a couple big books, a couple, now it's anything over 1,000. It doesn't take a lot to get over $1,000 on a book nowadays. Talking a lot of Silver Age books. It does not take much. So now that fee has gone up significantly. $20, 16%. That's real money. So reholder, no change. We could always go back if you guys want to stop on one particular. I just wanted to walk through the whole thing. Reholder, high value, no change except for the name. And then the pre-screen, and this is where we could probably spend a lot of time, and I'll hand it off to Jay. The pre-screen, the denial or the reject fee went from, it was $5, then it went to $8, and now it's at $9, which is starting to add up. The biggest thing here is the removal of the number of books you have to submit to be able to qualify for a pre-screen. Okay, it used to be 25, now it's 1. So you could submit any book as a pre-screen. Now, granted, every book on an invoice has to be the same grade. So if you want one grade, if you want a batch of books graded at a minimum of 9.8, a batch of books graded at a minimum, maybe you have some Silver Age that you want at a minimum of 5.0, those have to be 2 separate invoices. It can't be done differently on the same invoice. However, now they've removed that minimum. That could change a lot of things. And that's, I don't know if, Jay, you want to start with that one or you want to work back to the other
No, I'm going to start. This is what I don't like, right? You're paying for a service, and CGC wants their VIG on the percentage of the book value, right? I don't like that. Say you have a book from 1963 that's not a key, that's a $30 book, and you have a book from 1963 that's a major key, that's thousands and thousands of dollars. Are they grading that book any different? No, right? They're not. It's going to be graded the same. Theory. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So why does a customer have to pay that fee of whatever a book's worth on top of that? And that, a big book like that, and they're talking about, what was it, Matt? 6% over?
So it's a 4% of the market, but like I said, now that they've removed Express, if you have a book that's between $1,000 and $3,000, you're now paying a 16% increase in fee.
Yeah, to me, that's ridiculous, dude. Like, why does the value? You're there to grade a book. You're not there to put a value on a book. So why should that come into play? Whether it's a not expensive book from 63 or a super expensive, it should be the same price and it should be graded exactly the same. Why should that? Why should the book's value reflect on the grading service? To me, that makes no sense.
And how are they coming up with that value?
That's a great point, because they're there to grade it.
Right.
That's what they're there for.
They're not there to put a value on it.
Correct. That's a wonderful point.
So and that's why I can see these guys' view here. Crazy. It's like, why should I pay that premium when, okay, now you're talking about maybe $400 or $500, maybe even more than that, depending on the book that you have, an FF5, like Matt said, an FF1, an X-Men one. Why should they make money off your book?
They should benefit. They should benefit because it's worth more.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen enough to know that. Now, granted, the turnaround time is a lot faster, right? The walkthrough is a 2-day turnaround. I've sent books in on walkthrough. If you send the book out on a Monday, it's back at your door either the following Monday or that Friday, depending on where you live. So
supposedly.
So I mean, I've done it, and I've done express and walkthrough, and you get the books back fast. So maybe that's part of what you're paying for. I feel like if I sent in like a $20,000 book, I would want that book out of my possession for the least amount of time. Correct. So I could see paying a little bit extra, but if you're paying 4%, I mean, of $20,000, $30,000, that's you're talking big, that's big money to get that book graded. And like you said, why should they really benefit on a sliding scale, right? But I guess, and I saw it in the chat, I said it earlier, I mean, how do they come up with that value? I'm sure if we asked that question, I'm sure we could find that question from CGC, but it kind of seems like a sliding scale. And I'll pose this question to you guys. If you got your book graded in 2021, like May 2021, the value of the book then is way different than it is right now. Some books are down 300%. Okay, like...
CGC giving you a refund on those grading fees?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right? I mean, that's what I mean. So that's where I get
you
into
kept that receipt.
The whole thing of value versus when you grade it, I guess it can go both ways, right? PJ, you were talking about, if you got your GSX1 in the 90s and you still have it now and you got graded, and obviously they weren't grading them, but let's say you got it graded in early 2000s, 2005, 2008, you paid the value of the book was a lot less then than it is now. So I guess it does go both ways. But I feel like
No,
from
but
here,
why should they be trying to benefit from the value of my book? They're just grading it.
I agree.
Like
Exactly.
I
Jay
agree.
said, I mean, basically, if you're grading my common X-Men number 22 or my X-Men 1, what is the difference?
Right.
Like they should not value shouldn't factor into like the grading of the book. These people in the chat are saying that's with the insurance. Look, isn't there's not like a separate way to insure your book with them as far as
Well, there is. I mean, you could have your own insurance, but there's definitely insurance, and that is a great point. That is they have their own insurance, and we could talk about Jay. That kind of plays into what you wanted to bring up later.
Yeah.
About insurance. So
Yeah,
that is a good point. The insurance does have to get paid for.
Yeah, I mean, let's go around the horn. We'll start with our guest. I mean, Morbius, your thoughts on it, man?
Oh man, listen, first of all, I'm gonna keep it 100. Because once I start hearing slabs and the whole talking, it's like the old school cartoon. I'm just hearing like wah 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 wah, and I'm just like,
Charlie Brown's
and then
teacher.
I'm like, you know what? I need to focus in. I need to learn, and I learned a few things on here already, and I'm learning a few things. But at the end of the day, in my mind, you know how I see it? I see it like the drug dealer, right? At first he's putting them out, got them 20 bag, real fat bags, get that clientele. Then we already know that motherfucker's gonna keep coming back.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna cut this shit down a little bit. You know what I mean? Now it's a 20 bag, but now you get half the fucking shit in it. Here you go. You're still coming back for more.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So now I'm gonna cut it down even some more, and I'm gonna add some grass in that motherfucker.
Yep.
And y'all still gonna keep buying this shit. Because of me, I'm telling you that 20 bag when you buy it off of me is worth 60 now when you get rid of it.
Especially when you're the only game in town, basically.
Right. So it's a monopoly, right? They monopolizing this shit. So pretty much almost there. They're almost there.
Well, but that's where collectors are phony though. Well, collectors are phony. Because honestly, if you just purely worried about your book and getting it graded and getting a non-biased third-party opinion, you could send it to CBCS, but nobody does that. Why? Because they want that extra bread that CBC brings. So if it's not, they're part of the same system. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like complaining about it. I feel like Slab guys.
What Alberto said
about CGC, but then they keep sending a book. So it's like
Alberto said it right there. He said the monopoly is all fault. And exactly, it's because you're feeding the monster. You continually feed the monster. You know what I mean? And it's never going to stop. How are you going to stop somebody if you keep throwing your fucking money at them? So now they feel like,
they have no incentive to change what they're doing as long as you keep giving them money.
All they have is incentive to do is charge more at this point.
Right. And at this point, the way the market value is, people are complaining, right? Because now the money's going down, but nobody gave a fuck really when the market was up. You know what I mean? When slabs were really on top,
everybody was eating,
making their bread. Nobody gave a fuck. They were like, and that's when CGC got fucking slick. Cause then they knew, they were like, you know what? They're making their money. So now we can start fucking doing some dumb shit. And they're still gonna they're gonna complain, but they ain't gonna stop. And then that's what helped them corner that market, which they're almost there to completely monopolize it.
Yep.
And nobody's going to stop the machine. And it just goes all back to the reason why we even got into this shit. But I understand that a lot of people got into this later on where they didn't know anything other than flipping and seeing a book work just for value. You know what I mean? And, so I get it, and another thing too, real quick, man. We gotta stop. I'm gonna jump everywhere. This is how I do. I'm all over the place.
Go ahead, the floor is yours, bro.
Listen, man. What the fuck is it with a slab? When we talk to slabbers, I know we got plenty of slabbers here. So when we talk to slabbers and we be like, "Nah, I don't really fuck with slabs," and they like, "Yo, you just hating." What that mean? Like, what? Guys, please explain. Everybody here, what are we hating on?
Right off the bat, we
get that a lot. Like, we're haters. Like, what are we hating on, bro?
Why are you grouping us together like all slabbers are the same, bro? Like, what are you trying to say?
No, listen.
What the fuck are you trying to say?
All in the same pot.
We always say on the channel, listen, this is everybody's own hobby. You got to collect what you like. You got to collect how you want to collect. If someone's against slabbing or if someone's for slabbing, it's no one's business but theirs, man. You what works for the hobby, you make it work for yourself. You don't worry about what other people say. You know what I mean?
See,
My higher value books slabbed 100%. My
Right.
my Silver Age, like I wouldn't say lower keys, but books that aren't so higher in value, I keep in Mylar because it looks nice. You know what I mean?
right.
But yeah, man, I never hating on keeping it raw or slabbing.
Yeah, man.
You
I don't
do
get
what you,
that shit. I don't
you
get
know?
that.
Like
And I
me,
got it recently at a con, at King Con actually. I got it.
yeah,
You
I'm
know,
sure, and I'm sure people hate on everything. Me
I'm just
personally,
like, what the hell?
Yeah, you
But
can't-
that's
like
the
you
thing.
said.
Like, yo, dude, I'm gonna keep it 100. Paul knows here, man. We got plenty of friends who are all they do is just pick up slabs. You got Nigel, you got Chedai Knight. You know what I mean? You got these guys that are heavy slabbers, and you know what? I don't have a problem liking and putting fire emojis under their books or under their slabs because it's a great book. I'm looking at the book.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though they be fucking it up with the signatures, stop ruining these covers with signatures, guys.
I'm a signature guy.
Here we
boy.
go.
Destroying these covers, man. I'd be like,
I
why
know,
are you
but
doing
Jay,
these
would you
covers?
get like a? I
You
don't
gotta
know,
keep
like
it old school, man. Keep it on the first
like a
page
high
or on the
grade
back.
Grail. Would you get it signed on?
I
Like,
would, and
I'm-
you know what?
Depends who it is, right?
Not. Hold on. Not only would I get it signed, but like, listen, if I had like a crazy Joe Sinnott remark on a FF 49 or 48, to me, that's my favorite. I love the remark game. I love making my book one of one. That's my thing, and I understand people out there don't like signatures, but just like we talked about history, that's a piece of history for me. Signed.
I would say a remark.
Listen.
I'd give more like respect to, because that's basically you go to Joe Sinnott sketch. I mean, that's
Right.
That's close.
Listen, Morbius, I gotta call you out, bro. You just were yelling at some people saying why you hating on people leaving it raw. Now you hating on my man Butch for getting some SIGs. What's up, dude? Come on, man. You can't have a
Oh,
both ways.
no. That's not hated. I didn't say
I'm fucking with you.
you're a hater. You know what I mean? I'm saying like I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with putting signatures on the cover because I feel like, it's just like it's such beautiful artwork. Like, why ruin it? We do the back cover, you do the inside.
Yep.
First
that was
page.
a 9-0. When I cracked this book out, this book was probably like 10K at the time.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're crazy breaking out a 9-0.
It's
But
come
that's
down
their
now.
own, man.
Beautiful books, man. Beautiful books. Exactly. And one thing I'm gonna say,
129 was an 8-0.
one thing I'm gonna say is
I
like,
didn't enjoy them slab. They're just
right.
Just not.
One thing I
insane.
will say I hear a lot, and I'm hearing now, is like, collect, how you like, and do that. I agree with. I don't agree with. There's no wrong way to collect. That term, I don't agree with. When people say there's no wrong way, yeah, there are many fucking wrong ways to collect.
I'll say it like this.
There's a lot of wrong ways to collect.
There's only a wrong way if you're trying to do something and you're doing it incorrectly. Now,
Exactly.
If you're collecting a way, whatever way that is, and you are doing it correctly that way, then there's no wrong way to collect.
Right.
But you can collect incorrectly based on what you're trying to do.
Right.
Yes.
If you're like caught up on FOMO and you go drop like fucking $1,000 on a book that 6 months later is $100 or $50, that's a wrong way to collect. You get what I'm saying? Like, those are wrong things.
But yes, I did, Murph. But is it Morbius? Because what if
somebody
that's what they want? Because like, hey,
right, but it was an incorrect decision. No, it's nothing wrong. That's what you wanted, but it was
an incorrect
wrong.
decision based. Well, in the moment, that's what they felt like. And listen,
no one is listen. Don't get me wrong. We've all made mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Mistakes are one thing, but I know plenty of people that will say, "I don't care how much this book is. I need it today."
Right now, I understand that. That's where Morbius is coming from. He's thinking, these people are going out and buying a book because Tom's telling them it's a hot book at this time, and you're buying at the absolute highest price point possible once that book hits the app. And as an old school collector, that is, you know what I mean? That is incorrect. That isn't what you should be doing. You should wait for that book to drop down. You should wait for the movie to drop, for the hype to sizzle down. But listen, reality,
You don't
People
do it,
ain't
and
doing
we've
that
all
shit.
been victims of that.
We've
Trust
all
me,
been victims,
everybody
but-
here has been victims of that.
Yeah.
But
You know what I
sometimes,
mean?
but sometimes you're happy with that decision, right? And again,
Yeah, you are happy with
we're
it, but
we're a little bit more seasoned on this panel here, so we know that you could wait, you could do this.
yeah,
But there's been times where even myself, I'm like, I know that I shouldn't buy this right now, but I want it right now. You know, because right now is when it's in my face. Right now is when I want to see that in my collection. I want to be happy that it's in my collection. Now, you could say from a money standpoint that doesn't make any sense, but maybe from a self-gratification standpoint, it does. So I'm with you, Morbius. Like, it's, for me, it's the wrong move, but I can't tell somebody else unless they're asking me. If they're asking me, like, hey, Matt, was this the right decision? Or, hey, how do I maximize my value? Then that's the answer. But if they're just like, I want this right now, how, I can't be the one to be
but
like, you know, you're wrong.
The
you know?
argument
No,
is
but
not what you want. The argument is the decision of how you collected and purchased. So the argument is not emotional. You know what I mean? Because we all get emotional when it comes to a book. So it's not about being emotional, how bad you want a book. It's about how you went about getting that book. So you went about it incorrectly if you overpaid dramatically for that book when you could have just went about it, been more patient, and got it at a lower price. And that is the smarter way of collecting. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at it logically. I'm not trying to get emotionally. Just if you look at it logically, it does that terminology of saying there's no wrong way. It doesn't make sense to me because logically,
that's just you breaking down the reality of it. That's the way it is.
Which it's hard.
Right.
I mean, look,
Reality comes to play, and the facts that you did that create that reality.
right.
Right.
Like right now,
That's factual that someone did
So,
that. Correct.
right
what
now,
was
it's a
it?
lot- Yeah, go ahead.
Knuckin Fury. What he said that Morbius, all that weed smoke is getting into your books isn't helping.
That's why they smell so good.
how about a question?
I wish I smoked in my room.
Yeah. Here,
So I don't-
That's why,
definitely some
that's
clean
why you're
pages.
dancing when you're walking in there.
Yeah. Right now, that's easy to say, right? Because we know that these books aren't holding the value the same way they did, you know,
Right.
in 2021, even 2017, 2018, 2019, building up to Infinity War and Endgame. The values weren't really going down that much. Right now, it's easy to say that. But like, I don't know, you guys are sneaker guys. Me and Jay were just talking about sneakers just before. You know, Jay, after you got those lost and founds, how many people were willing to pay you double, triple, quadruple what you paid?
Oh yeah.
Right?
And
it's
that's
like they wouldn't regret that decision.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that says that those aren't going to go down in value at some point. We already heard that, number one. Maybe the stock was way higher than they thought it was. So maybe that resale value isn't the same. Now, whether that's true or not, we're not going to know until much, much later. So I know they're not exactly the same, but they're still both collectibles that people pay a lot of money for. And people would have put a smile on their face if Jay was like, buy my sneakers for triple the price, and that day they would have had a smile on their face.
No, but
you know?
and I get your point, but I also get Morbius's point because when you're buying those FOMO books, that's the all-time high. There ain't no
Sure.
going up. There ain't
sure.
no going up after that. There's only coming down after that.
Down off that.
There's
100%. I 100% agree with it. I'm just giving the other side of the coin. You know, I'm with you guys, you know, but I understand why people do it. And sometimes it's for the right reason, and sometimes it's for the wrong reason, in my eyes. Of course, it's going to look different for every single person, you know?
Right. I mean, like at the end of the day, man, it's right. People, the argument of people is, this is what you like, or it's the value is subjective. Well, the value is subjective is really, you can't really say that to a point because the value is not really subjective. You have these companies giving these book values. You know what I mean? If you choose to be, willing to accept those values, that's another thing,
Sure.
where you're going to say, well, I don't care about that value because I want that book, or I don't care about that value because that's just a book that I'm connected to, or whatever it is that you may want that book. You know what I mean? To me, it would be, I want to complete this run. I don't give a fuck. I just want this book so I could just say I'm done with this or get closer to finishing this run.
You know what it is? You, me, other people have a different, we collecting different. We're not chasing a bag. We're trying to get
That's what it is.
These
That's
guys.
That's why they get uptight in the chat. That's why they get uptight.
Actually, I got a bone to pick, dude.
But at the same time,
undergraded anyway.
Whether people in the chat that are saying this, whether they're looking to buy the book to flip it or not, you guys are saying we're never going to buy that book to flip. You're still speculating whether the book is at its high or low. because you don't want to. You just told me you don't want to buy it at its high, so you have to know. Am I buying this book at the right time? Am I speculating to say, is this book going to go up or down? Because
well,
you
I
guys
mean, it's
don't want to
based
pay.
on
You
like
don't want to pay max
if
for the
I
book,
was to
right?
buy a book, if I'm getting a book, well, I don't buy books like the books we buy are not even on nobody's radar.
Sure.
Like nobody's looking at the Silver Age books and the you know the Bronze Age books that we're buying. So we're cool, we're good. Like especially now, the books are so low for us. Like we're fucking swimming.
But
in these
you know that
ways.
you check the market and you make sure that. But
Well, it's not
right
check.
now.
I don't check no market. I'm gonna be 100% honest with everybody. I don't know what GPA. None of this shit. I'm clueless to. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't keep track of none of this. You know, like all I do is look at stuff, and if I feel like, damn, this shit is high. Like, why is this so expensive? I remember the last time I saw this, it was worth this much. What happened? You know, and then I reached to Paul, and I'm like, yo, Paul, did something happen? Like, why this book went up? You know what I mean? Is a fucking movie coming out? Like, what the fuck?
X-Men 207, $50 now. What's up with that?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's how I look at shit. You know what I mean? Like when I go to look for it,
similar.
And then I'm like, I'm not gonna pay that price. And then when you go hunt it, then you realize, oh shit, you know, that's how I gauge pricing based on me just hunting for shit. Like I don't really look things up. Like to me, because to look things up is there's more incentive behind looking things up. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. You know, if I'm looking things up,
your knowledge of it, your knowledge of it tells you, your knowledge of it tells you that that's too high, and the fact that you're questioning why it's too
experience.
high. But that's my point.
Right? You've seen the book so many times.
So here's the perfect scenario. That's your experience, and you're doing it. Maybe the new person collecting doesn't have the experience. They have to utilize the tools that they have to do almost the same thing that you're doing yourself.
But at the same time, that's why he's passionate about it, and that's why he's pumping out to his viewers, yo, don't do this. You know what I'm saying? Do this, because
you listen, man. Like people can do whatever they want. Like you come on my show, you know, I'm very adamant. This is how we all on our show, you know. And it's funny because like it, you know, I've had conversations like this with people, and they don't understand. They take what we say as like they get defensive by it. You know, they take it the wrong way. They take it like we're calling them out, calling them wrong. Bro, y'all do whatever y'all want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all collect however y'all want to collect. Y'all say whatever y'all want to say and do whatever y'all want to do. Like ain't nothing gonna stop or gonna intervene how I love these books. You know what I mean? How I am passionate about these books. Like that's not gonna stop. All I'm telling you is that, you know, I just don't agree with how you see it, and you don't agree with me, and cool, we keep it moving. You know what I mean? There's no like personal vendetta.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think people get that misconstrued with the passion behind shit that we say.
Guys get sensitive, you know.
Oh yeah. Everyone.
Yeah, you guys get really sensitive, man. I'm gonna say you guys, y'all people.
I think collectors just get sensitive based on the way that they do things, right? Like you said, you're passionate about it. Some people in the chat are passionate a different way. But what's good is this is the stuff that keeps the hobby alive. All of it, right? Every facet has a place in the hobby. You know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, FOMO, it's bad, but guess what? It helps the hobby. No matter, you know, money in the hobby is a good thing. You know, because it keeps interest high. It keeps new content coming out, whether that's in the form of new comic books, new artists, you know. And I like to see that. I like to see new artists, new writers. You know, so money in the hobby is a good thing. You know, you'd hate to be at your own expense, but the FOMO thing, that's what kind of drives whether they continue to do things going forward.
But
it's almost like a necessary evil. And obviously there's a level that you don't want to go past, because then it gets gross, right? I'm with you there. It gets gross, it gets piggish, it gets really greedy, you know, but so there is a fine line. But it's part of it, you know. But
you know what? You guys, the FOMO, honestly, works in your guys' favor, because while all these other people are chasing these books, you guys are down here like, oh, fuck that. What about these books under the radar? And I get that, man. I get that too, you know?
I admit. I mean, I'm glad. I'm fortunate to have been collecting a long time. I get it. Like a lot of these books, I couldn't afford a 181 now and Giant X-Men 1.
Oh, yeah, no, that's out the window for me too.
I do value that. But the thing back to what Matt was saying, you know, he's saying Morbius is passion, knowing the passion in the chat. It's all like, I would say the difference is this passion is for love of the books and the hobby. The passion in the chat, some of it is based on love of money. Different.
I mean, I'm sure that exists, but it's hard to say that to somebody in the chat specifically, right? Like, I don't think that's right. I mean, that's just me. That does exist.
Nah, man,
But,
well, I just think slab guys get very defensive, and they
usually
usually it's about the value.
Let's
Right?
keep
A lot
it
of guys
100,
talk
man.
about the value. It's about preserving the value of the book or ascertaining the correct value based on a grade, which again goes back to the beginning of like somebody put something in there about a class action lawsuit on a
CGC
conflict of interest. Like they're assigning kind of a value to the books, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't sell comics themselves, I guess. So maybe that would be they're just non-partially grading the book. And someone else asked, where do they get the value from?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean, I wish we had the answer to that. And I'm sure if you asked CGC or representative, they would probably have some type of set answer for it. But somebody made a good point before. It is partly for insurance reasons. So, like, if they lose that book, they need to be able. They have that insurance range, and I'm sure that they have some arrangement. And I'm sure there's a reason to it. But don't get me wrong. I'm sure they're making extra money on top of that. It's not just to cover insurance, of course.
Is GPA GPA and CGC affiliated? And I used to have the
I don't know. That I don't know.
Now it's weird though because there's no GPA for raw books, which I find weird. You know,
the website, the GPA
Yeah,
website.
I guess
yeah.
because it would be hard to assign the value to the grade, right?
Right.
Because the
Yeah.
grade is kind of vague.
Subjective.
I mean, so
But listen, back to the FOMO books, and I gotta agree, man. I think if it's a character that you love, you guys all know I'm a Punisher guy. If some crazy Punisher variant came out right off the bat, no doubt I would have FOMO for it because it's a character I love. But I do think, Matt, 90% of the time, people are grabbing those books, FOMO books, for investment value. So I got to agree with you guys there.
I agree with you. Most of the time, I'm just playing the other side of the coin, right? Because it does exist. It's not like
I get
all
that.
of it is bad, because you just gave the perfect example as to what I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, like, listen, if it's a dope Punisher book and it just came out and it's hot, will I overpay for it? Probably, man. Mm-hmm. Probably, because it's a character that I love. And I want to post that book on Instagram. I want that book. But if it's some random-ass character that the book is hot for absolutely no reason, like, you know, like this everyone keeps posting. I forget the name of the book, but it came out last week, and it was an error because it was too dark. And
Forest World, something.
Yeah, some Tree World or something. People keep grabbing this book, but like I don't understand why. Because the error, whatever it is, the error, it was too dark. No retailers pulled them from the shelf. So how valuable is that going to be at the end of the day? It's like, probably more common than the fixed version of the book.
Well, it's like the Secret Wars 1 Galactus error variant. I don't think I've ever seen one that doesn't have the error.
I know.
So I feel like the correct one is more rare, to be honest with you. So
no, but I get. Listen, I get it.
Exactly.
Some people are in it just to flip it, man.
Of course.
And they just want that book, Spider-Man Eminem book.
And you know what? And here's my point. Fucking stand on that fucking square.
Yeah, 100%.
Stand on that fucking square.
100%.
Stop fucking being bitches and fucking crying and complaining and getting all mad and defensive when somebody tells you use a fucking flipper.
Yeah.
Like, be like, yeah, I am a flipper. Yep. Yeah, I flip books. This is what I do. I don't really collect runs. I'm a key chaser. I'm out for the fucking money. That's why I'm keeping track of the GPA and fucking keeping track. And I could tell you it's 50% this and like the only reason why you keep track of that is because of money. Your interest is economically based. Like, don't tell me that you reading runs and completing shit. Like, don't tell me that. That's bullshit.
Right. Yeah, well, listen.
You know what I mean? And I'll be the first one to tell you. Because I see it all the time, bro. I see it all the time. And my thing is this. No one is hating. It's about standing on your square. Yeah. Yo, if this is what you do, this is what you do. Yo, I collect slabs. But if I be like, yo, why you collect slabs? Because, you know, I want to preserve the book. And I want to, you know, don't give me that, man. There's many ways of preserving it. Yo, I got books here, 50 years old, never been slabbed, and they're fucking mint condition. I'm not saying I own them, you know, for 50 years, but I've gotten a book that's over 50 years. It's somebody's collection that he's maintained it fucking mint condition. How he did that, I don't know, but it wasn't slab. you know, and they sell cases, they sell many things, you know.
Yeah.
So my point is like, don't make excuses, just keep it 100 and be like, yo, listen, that's what I'm about. That's why I fucks with like Nigel, I fuck with dudes, because I'm sorry, I could curse on
Yeah,
here.
of course, of course.
Yeah, just after your
Well,
100th
fuck,
curse,
you know-
you want to check. Sure, no problem.
Right, I'm sorry, man. My apologies, man. I do this all the time. I get carried away. I do this all the time. But at the same time, it's
shit.
like, yo, just be honest with yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
no.
don't try to like play the okey doke with me when we're talking, because I'm not new to this. You know what I mean? I've been around the block a few times. So when you talk to me, you know, like when somebody tells me, oh, this is my favorite character, right? And I'm not talking about you, Butch, because I know you got the books, you know. But when people talk to me and they be like, oh, let's say like Wolverine, that's my favorite character, and all you pulling out is like 5 or 6, 7, 8 keys.
All right, yeah.
Because my thing is gonna be, all right. So I'm assuming you got them runs, right? You got what run you got, like up to where, you know, or what volume you picked up, like you know that's the way I see it, you know. But when you pull out like just keys, and then you want to tell me you know a serious comic collector, it's like, bro, we got issues.
Yep.
We got to talk about this. Like, you know, is that really your favorite character, or you really chasing a bag?
So I'll tell you,
You know what I mean?
right off the bat.
Or that bag convinced you that he's your favorite character. Like, well, which one was it?
Yeah, right off the bat,
You know?
I have. Now, I wouldn't say every newsstand and every variant, but I have every Punisher issue from every run that came out.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, and I'm gonna stand on my box. Do I read the trades? Yeah, I used to read the trades. Now, for me, I love the Omnis. I grab every Punisher Omni. I got every X-Men Omni, and it's just
Something, yo,
it's
you go.
convenient for me because I flip through a whole series in one book, and it's oversized. I love it. The Swamp Thing,
first of all.
you know. But that's just me. But I do have my runs. Because that's the original.
But that's what it's about.
The original.
But that's what it's about.
Yeah, the original is the
okay.
runs. Those are the original. I wouldn't say I'm a huge Punisher fan if I didn't have all the runs. But nowadays, I grab the Omnis. I flip through. That's also what I collect. You know.
No,
Go ahead,
and
Morbius.
that's
Go ahead.
dope. But I've been distracted. Something been in the chat like, yo, first she been coming at me like why I'm angry at flippers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not angry at flippers. I'm not angry at nobody. Yet once again, people misconstrued me being loud, passionate. I'm a New Yorker BX diehard. So I'm Dominican. So I'm all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is normal talk for me. You know what I mean? Like, when we talk, it look like we
it's all
arguing.
good. Everybody's good. Everyone's voicing their opinion.
This is the way we are. No, but something know me, something follow me, something been on the show. You know what I mean? Knows me from the show. So that's why I'm like, come on, something. You know me from a minute now. You know I'm gonna call shit out. I'm not on some like, you know what I mean? Like this, we're not gonna do that here. You know what I mean?
No,
If I see
it's all
something,
good.
I'm gonna call it out.
We're good.
You know,
He's good. He's
so
always in our
Morbius-
chat too.
Morbius, you like
the passion is good. That's what it's
Yeah.
about, man. Hearing everybody's voices. If
Like,
this was boring, no one would hear.
Listen,
would be
and
watching.
but that's just my thing. It's like when I talk to people, they ain't no passion. You know what I mean? Like they're passionate. When I talk to people, like they're passionate about a 9.8. Like they get excited over a fucking, a comic bag. And it's
I got
like,
90s Spidey and 9.8. Like,
what happened to like? Why did we start collecting comic book? Why did we get into this in the first place, man?
Well, everybody's
Like,
got their own answer for that, right?
You know what I mean? Of course, no, that's what
Yeah.
I mean. Of why
Yeah.
did we? But like, look at the creators. Why did they started this shit? You know what I'm saying? It was an
Sure.
escape. You know what I mean? It was a way of getting away and expressing an opinion and a message and trying to bridge a gap between artist, writer, and the population. You know what I mean? And it was at a time where you want to come back with Superman. You know, we was at World War I. You know what I mean? It was just all about like, hey, let's just try to ease the people down, let them escape a little bit. So it was escapism. You know, that's where it starts from. These comic books, these heroes, it's escapism. You know what I mean? And I think when you somebody who's who enjoys reading them and enjoys the storylines, and then you get caught up in the artists and the creators, and then now you start, looking forward to their work and you chasing their work. Like every Alex Ross cover, I'm picking that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just now it's like, you get passionate about these people, and you get passionate about their work, and you start appreciating their work just for the sake of their work. And I think that's where shit gets lost a lot. CGC really fucked shit up when they started. I truly believe CGC had a big part in ruining this fucking comic hobby, because they turned the hobby from a hobby to a business. You know what I mean? And that's where now we got these lines that are misconstrued, where people are saying, or thinking that they're doing well for the community. And it's like, well, you're doing well for your pocket, my nigga. I'm sorry. You're doing well for your pocket, my dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not really pushing the community. You know what I'm saying? Because if you pushing the community, you wouldn't be trying to make money off the community. You know what I'm saying?
I think CGC probably followed the line of the 90s when people were, look, guys is eating his popcorn.
Listen.
When people were getting, people in the chat, just a random collector had their own diamond accounts and they were ordering 50, 60, 80 copies of Turok #1 in the 90s, right? That's what kind of started
it. Spawn
it.
1, man.
CGC
I've seen news with loan boxes with Spawn 1 full.
Oh yeah,
we unfortunately, I say we, the comic collectors, certain groups of them, that's what kind of started, chasing down the money, and then CGC saw an opportunity. Like every good business should, at the end of the day, they're not collectors. They're a business.
How good are they? Really? Are they good business? Really? Are they practicing good business, man? Like,
it's hard to say. I mean,
look
really?
Not as a collector, right? As a collector, you look at CGC and you're like, there's so many things that they're doing wrong. But so we're looking at it as collectors, and of course we're going to see things that they do wrong, and a lot of it's just price increases and taking this service away and turnaround times. So I totally understand that. But if you're looking at it as, if you don't know nothing about comics and you're just looking at a business model, they're taking money from everyone. So it seems like a pretty good model. Unfortunately, being in the community, you see it a different way. As do I myself. I want CGC to be part of the community, and unfortunately they are just a business.
They're a monster.
We get caught up with that, thinking that they're anything more than just there to make money. They're not here to help us. They're not here to be part. And they're a part of the community in the way that we use them in the community. If you do collect slabs, which a lot of people do, but from their standpoint, and I give them a little credit here and there, because they will listen to people, from time to time. I want to say about a year ago, they were going to get rid of the pre-screen, and they put out a bunch of changes, and there was a bunch of crappy ones, and they took two of the ones that people were complaining about the most. They took them off the board, and they never put them back on. And in fact, they're actually removing the pre-screen limitation altogether. So they went complete 180. They were going to get rid of the pre-screen altogether, and they actually now have eliminated the requirement to send in 25 books, which was who was really doing that? Bigger retailers. It was really geared towards the retailer. So I give them a little tiny bit of credit for saying, hey, the regular guy, if you want to send in one book and make sure it's a 9.8 for whatever your reason is, you have the opportunity to do that now. So is that to help people, or is that just to put more money in their pocket? You could say it's probably for both. So, I mean,
but how is that helping people? How is that helping?
If somebody wants a graded book, it helps them. It doesn't help you at all. But if people in the chat, if they want
what's the purpose of getting a graded book? What's the purpose?
What do you preach?
Why you want that graded book for?
That's for each person to answer for themselves. Because you're going to get 100 different answers.
You already know why, brother. You already know why.
I'll tell you right on.
You see my FF1? I got it in a grade. I'm never going to sell it. So it's not about the money for me, right? I wanted to make sure I know what I was getting. That when I got that in my collection, it was because I had seen so many raw copies, and for a lower grade, what I can afford in an FF1, it was a mess. So I wanted a little bit more certainty in my life. That's my answer. Now everyone's answer is going to be a little different. Like I said, it ain't wrong, it ain't right. Knock it. If I had that sitting there raw, it wouldn't be like, don't get it, slab, lever. It's each person here, every person in the chat has to make that answer that question for themselves. If they want to use CGC, for whatever reason, and then complain about them, then that's bad. So if you're going to use them, you can't really complain about them. If you're going to complain about them, then just stop using them. Go to CBCS or leave them raw, or you kind of got to deal with the hand that they deal you. Unfortunately, it's
Right, but not every slab back there is not for sale though.
not every. How do you know?
Well, I'm pretty sure because you just said that one, Nate. So you made
Well,
that
I
one
mean, I'm
specific.
pointing to my most expensive one.
Oh, okay,
I got my
okay,
favorite character up here,
okay.
Punisher. That's not going anywhere.
Okay.
I got my favorite villain, Doom, right here. That's not going anywhere. So
it has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with money.
You're asking me personally?
Personally, Matt, has nothing to that
when
grade
I
right
bought
there has nothing to
these-
do with money.
Morbius. I sell books, but I don't sell these books. So it depends on the question.
So
and
all
what
right,
book
so,
it is,
so
right?
how about this better question? So a better question. So
I wanted to answer this one. Hold on.
Hold on a second. You see, Matt? Can you stand up for a second?
What do you mean?
Just stand up
Am I
for a
sure?
second.
I almost got.
I'm waiting for PJ. Yeah,
shirt.
look, you
I
see the
wore this
shirt,
for
Morbius, right?
I wore
But
this
listen,
for Morbius.
listen,
Morbius, you see the shirt, right?
I see it. I see it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, right off the bat, if I get a modern book, which I'll collect, I'll send it to CGC for that 9.8 pre-screen because I'd rather spend the $30 on that and get my value when I do sell that book in a 9.8 because that jump from 9.6 to 9.8 is a crazy amount of money. So if I'm selling a book that I like, whether I find it in the wild or whatever, and it's a book that doesn't appeal to me or my collection, I'm gonna try to maximize the value of it when flipping it to fund something that I do want.
Yep.
Whether it be another book or whether I'm just strapped on cash and I need money in the bank account. And I won't fake any jacks on that. Like I'll send it into 9.8 because I want that premium dollar when I'm about to sell that book.
Who's Jack?
I don't know, right?
The thing, but see, that's what
That's Mount
the
Vernon.
value, flipper, real collector, slabber, all that shit. It's like the boiling point for me, right? If you were just a comic collector and you like a character, let's say Deadpool. I only know this because I happened to see it when I was hanging with my buddy when he was doing a lot of shows and he was giving me all the information. But like, you know, when like the Deadpool movie came out, I think like a 9.8 New Mutants 98 was, let's say it was like 2 G's. A 9.6 was like a G. And I used to always ask him, well, what kind of, like, if you were just purely, like, you collect, I just want this book, I like this character, I'm collecting a book, why would I pay twice the fucking price for some imperceptible 0.2 difference that none of us on here could even see if you had the 2 books cracked out?
100.
Why would I pay an extra G for that? You're not a
100%
collector,
agree with you.
You're chasing money. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, 100%.
If you were a collector,
whoever tells
you save the G and buy another book.
Yep. Whoever tells you they're buying books to sell and they send them to CGC for the encapsulation is full of shit. They want to maximize
Somebody just
their
said
dollar.
it in the chat. Like that's bullshit. It's all about the money.
Yeah, it's 100%, 100%, because that dollar value goes crazy. And just like you said, who the fuck's to say whether my book's a 9.6, a 9.8, or a 9.2, or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to selling, there's just certain people out there that want to spend all their hard-earned money on a 9.8, whether because
crazy
they're looking to invest in the future or because it's maybe a character they like and they want that book in the best condition they have. But most of the people, they want that 9.8 to flip that book, man. They're submitting that to flip that book. Without a doubt, I agree with you.
Yeah, that 9.8 stamp
I
is
just
very big.
feel like the 9.8 could be a 9.6 and the 9.6
Oh, you could crack that book out
like,
one
you know
day
what
and
I
it's a
mean?
9.4. You could crack it out the next
Why
day
would
and it's
I
a 9.8.
pay twice
I
the
would
fucking
encourage.
price
I wish I
for
could
something
fund it. We got to fund this guy. We got to come up with like a fund so we could send the same book in like 3-4 times just to see the
Different
different
stories,
grades it
guys.
fucking gets. Because
Yeah, you
that's
get a
my
different
biggest
grade every
thing.
time.
With CGC, it's the standard. There's no fucking standard. Now, I would bow down and shut the fuck up if this shit was like some fucking computer AI shit that is programmed based on a number, based on what it sees to say, hey, this many dinks, this many spine ticks to this degree, this inch, they were considered like they actually had a fucking standard like that a computer would stick to. Because a person, come on, guys, we're emotional. Today, I could go to work. I found out my wife cheated on me. Like, I'll be like, you know what, man? Fuck this shit, man. Either I'll be like, you know what, dude? You get a fucking 9.8. You know what I mean? The shit had like 3 spine ticks on it.
Yeah, and we see that. And we
see it, right?
Yep,
and then
and
the
we see that.
opposite. You see a mint fucking book, and then you get like a fucking 7 or 8. And you're like,
Yeah.
yo, bro, like this book is amazing. And those were the things that got me like, man, this shit ain't right. Like, how can
Now-
I trust these people? Like,
Hold on. Let me get into, and we'll get back to this. Let me get into, because I promised them I would do this. Basically a horror story. Oh shit, my phone's going up. Basically a horror story would happen with CGC. So we had, now I feel like I'm reading in class, so you know I'm gonna fuck this email
Oh yeah, you're
up.
fucked. You're fucked.
So we got an email from, I got an email from a viewer that had a CGC horror story. So here it goes. What's up, Butcher? Thanks for taking the time to look at this. I don't know if you know or heard anyone that had the same situation as my cousin, and we want to know what could be done about this. Maybe you could discuss this on your next Pressable Defects show. His cousin submitted several raw books to CGC in August of 22, and he didn't get his books back. He called for an update, and they were looking into this. Apparently, CGC sent him the following email today, 8 months later. It's very disappointing from a reputable company that handles millions of dollars of collectibles to follow a claim loss. As you review this spreadsheet, which we'll get into, and here's the email from CGC. I'm reaching out regarding your shipper and insurance claim for the above reference submission. The insurance company and their underwriters have reviewed your claim because the books were lost by CGC. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All 14 books were lost. And what he did was he went off eBay and gave them a declared value of what he thought was last sold on eBay, so fair pricing. And CGC decided to offer him $1,418 to settle this claim. Now, he's in the middle of litigation now because he didn't think that was fair. So he went out and had to do his own thing and, you know, hire his own people to look into the matter. So he's saying some books were 9.6, some were 9.8, which brings us back to the argument, what the fuck's the difference between a 9.6 or a 9.8, right? We'll never tell.
right.
So what I did was I just priced everything on GPA at a 9.6. So guys, books you're familiar with. Paul, you're an X-Men guy. He had X-Men 162, 225, 283, 283, 282, 282, an X-Men 140, a New Mutants 98, a Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 315, 317, 317, an X-Factor 24, and a Spidey 308. So here's where it comes into play, right? The jump between the New Mutants first Deadpool 9.6 and a 9.8. You're talking about $1,000 jump for maybe a one fucking spine tick, right?
Yep.
Maybe.
Possibly, if even that. So off of GPA on all 9.6s, and I didn't sprinkle any 9.8s in because I just, for argument's sake, the total value was $1,338, right? And what he wanted me to do is he wanted me to compare it to when he submitted it, which was in 2022, right? And 8 months later, he got this email back, which was a couple of weeks ago. So in 22 it was exactly $200 more from the 2022 average. It was $1,538. But here's my argument, right? And we talked about this backstage. Say that's a book your father or grandfather passed down to you, and now they lost that book. There's way more sentimental value there than any dollar amount could ever have, man. So it's like, and some of these books, like, listen, an X-Men, just for an example, and this is no knock on the collector at all, an X-Men 283 at a grade of 9.6 is $50, and that's not including, that's what it's worth slabbed, right? Slabbed is $50. So subtract the fucking $36 it costs you to grade that book, and then the shipping, and then if you cleaned it and pressed it. I mean, is an X-Men 283 worth getting graded if it's going to be valued?
$5 book.
We say that shit all the fucking time, bro.
Well, that's somebody that's maybe. I mean, and that's from a dollars and cents standpoint.
$1 and cents. Now maybe he's loves the cover of X-Men 283. Maybe he loves the characters and he's like, I'm gonna slab this. To me, now that's something that that's something I'm not even gonna say probably. I definitely wouldn't slab. Me personally. That's just keep it in a Mylar, keep it fresh, keep it clean. To me, it's just the juice ain't worth the squeeze of going through all that. And now you lost your book. You know what I mean? And now they're willing to give you $1,400 for all these books. Now, if say 5 of these books hit a 9.8, now you're talking a whole different price point. Not that it's much more, because these aren't like major keys, except for
I was going to say, I mean, he's
98.
He could probably never sell those books for $1,400. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he's probably
Exactly. So that's what I want. And we'll go around the horn. Matt, what do you think? Do you think it's a fair assessment? Do you think it's an unfair assessment?
I mean,
I think it's a fair assessment.
I'm gonna look at it from both sides. Yeah, no, you're good. I'm gonna look at it from both sides. Like, from the person's standpoint, it depends why those books. Like you said, if there was something more than the book itself, then there is no dollar amount, right? But from CGC's standpoint, I guess what else can they go on besides the value of the book? And I liked what you said, like, about he submitted them in 2022 and they lost them now, and they're giving them the value now.
Right. But say that's say he submitted those in 2021 when we all seen...
Well, I was about to say, or what if those books were books that really took a dive, right? So I honestly don't know what I don't know how I would feel about it, like that part of it. So I think that would be, if it was a different scenario, I'd be very curious to follow the story to see, do they give you the value now of then, or somewhere in the middle? For this guy right here, for this particular story, just based on complete numbers, it sounds fair to me.
Now, CLG has a good question. Are they refunding his grader fees too? I don't even know if he got... who knows if they even got graded? Who knows where those books
They
are?
should be refunding his shipping and everything. It shouldn't be costing him $1, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's crazy. I think it's fair. I think it's fair. Definitely for the books. I don't... Like everyone says, hey, if that's what you want to slab, go ahead. But somebody looking back at it, like, economically, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you want to look at it from an economic base, it just doesn't make sense to me. Those are books like we've talked about. Those are fillers. You know what I mean? You just keep them nice and tight, keep them in the box, and keep it moving. But to each his own. Maybe to him, those are very important books. They're very, there's a connection to them. Maybe, like you said, his father gave. Who knows where his history is? I'm trying to be like Matt right now, like the devil's advocate. You see me? I'm like trying to do a Matt story. You see that? That's why I keep fucking with Matt. That's why I keep coming at, because Matt reminds me of Justin. Justin was the same way on the show, man. I miss Justin. So I miss that whole devil's advocate going back and forth thing, because I like that. I like picking your brain, man.
I hear you, and that's why I'm doing it, to make the conversation, because
right, exactly. Like, I love it. I
agree with you,
And
exactly. Like, this is I just love like that rebuttal, just going back and forth.
Yeah. And I'm gonna get Paul's take on this too, but now listen to me. CGC cuts you a check for $1,400. You buying them same books, or you gonna buy yourself a nice grail with those, dude?
Hell no.
Hell no. Man,
absolutely not. I'm going back to the flea market to find all those.
Fuck yeah, bro. I'm digging with.
I mean, no disrespect to the guys.
No,
and
exactly. No,
I have
offense,
them.
man.
I collected them. Those were the type of books I was buying, like, off the rack.
Dude, like, in my mind,
I'm just saying, why are you grading them? Basically, I mean, it's all I would say.
So, what's your take on it, Paul? You think it's a fair assessment by CGC? You think
absolutely. Absolutely. I would say take your 1,400 and run. You know what I mean? That's the thing is, though, like, but here's my bigger question, I guess. That story you just told, what if it was like Matt or my or whatever, FF5 or my Giant Size X-Men 1?
Different
now you're talking some bread. I mean, now I'm jumping on a flight and I'm going down there.
And you know what? That poses a great question, because that book hasn't been graded yet. So what do they value that book at? On what you're telling them, or what do they perceive? You know what I mean?
That's where that's where it gets.
Yep.
That's where it gets.
So what would they do? That's had to, like, I'm sure the situation you just explained, while like horrible, it's probably not unique. Like, it's probably
no way that's happened. Yep.
With other, like, again, not trying to sound like an ass, but I'm saying, like, bigger books, like G's, you know what I mean? Or like an FF1 or something like ridiculous. I mean, how do they make you whole for a book like that? I mean,
Well, I can tell you. I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be stories across the board, but I just know of one, right? Somebody, I think it was a Hulk 181 that they bought from their childhood, and I'm going to butcher it. It's Mike P. Guy and Jay.
Yep, I know.
He submitted the book. Thank God he had tons of pictures. Basically, what they did is they found him one. They gave him a book. They were able to source a book close to the grade. He was still upset because that was a book that he had from when he was young. However, he wanted the book. He didn't want the money. He's like, I don't want the money. I want my fucking book.
Yep.
And, they finally were able to get him close enough that he was like, listen, I wasn't happy about it, but I am happy that they spent the time to go and find me a book that looked very close to what I had in a similar grade. He goes, so at the end of the day, I have a Hulk 181 in my collection. He's like, I wanted it to be my Hulk 181. However, they tried to do as best as they could in that situation. Now, that's not going to happen all the time.
Dude, that sounds like a straight up pyramid scam. They grabbed someone
you ain't
else's
kidding.
book, gave him that. The next guy, gave him that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I've heard those type stories. I've heard the go fuck yourself type stories where they're just like, oh, too bad. Just take what we're willing to give you. So, I mean, you could look at it a bunch of different ways.
We go on the fly.
It's not even about value. It's just I know his pain. Picking up a book from your childhood, you know what I mean, and retaining its like its condition is nothing like it. You know what I mean? It's like when I look at some of the old stuff I got that I inherited, some stuff from my brother. Yo, these books are pristine. And you cherish that. You look at it because you remember every fucking time as a kid when you looked at it. You remember every time when you read it. You know what I mean? Those are the things that bring you back. So I think a lot of times people, who wasn't there, it's hard for them to get it. How much, it means to you, these books, So
Absolutely.
Before, and not only that though, but those books were in your family's house forever.
Exactly.
So,
like,
you know what I mean?
You saw them every day.
Yep. But
that's
so
like
guys,
the priceless aspect of it.
We got a great conversation going, a passionate conversation going. I think we got 150 in the chat. What do you guys say we do a giveaway for a great member in the community? I don't know if you guys are familiar with CLG, but he did an exclusive variant with Zombie Pets. Ryan, who's a good friend of the channel, local New York guy, is at all the shows, does tons of great art for the Curse of Cleaver County, guys. A great book to have. This book has been optioned, and the best part of this book about it being optioned is that Ryan actually got a contract to do the promotional art. So you might have a nice little book in your hands. So, Matt, how are we doing this?
Okay, so like Jay said, I talked to CLG. He's been with us for a long time, right? So this isn't just like, hey, this is a guy that is in our group. He wanted me to give the print count because it's actually pretty nice. 150 for the trades, 100 for the virgins, 50 for the chromiums, which is crazy low. And the chromiums on the right, those are numbered. So yeah, we're gonna give away. CLG, what are we giving away? I know we're giving away at least the virgin, and then he said something else later on, but I want to make sure before I say anything out loud, let us know in the chat if we're gonna give away 2 or just 1. So are we doing the virgin? What are we doing? So, yeah, really dope cover. Like Jay said, it did get Source Point got a 3-film deal, and one of those films is going to be this. Now, optioned doesn't mean that it's a guarantee, but it's a nice little. So it's a 2-for-1. You get to support a really good member of the community and a possible little spec. Oh, he's saying we're giving away a virgin and a chromium. Okay, so the chromiums go for like 40 by themselves. The virgins go for 25. The trade goes for 12. If you want all 3 of them, they're for 70. So we're gonna do the generator, Jay. We're just gonna do hashtag CLG Comics. Don't put it in the chat yet. You'll see when it's time to do it. It's gonna be hashtag CLG Comics. All you gotta do is type in the phrase. You're gonna see it in the chat when it's time to go. You can only enter once per giveaway, so you could type it as many times as you want and just waste your time. Yeah, there you go. It should be popping in the chat any second.
There you go, guys.
Types hashtag CLG Comics to join, and you're entered. We're gonna do the virgin first. So this is for the virgin. Really nice to CLG.
No spaces in between, guys.
Yes, no spaces, guys. No. So Willie Medina, do that again. Hashtag CLG Comics, all one word. While we're waiting on that, what are we talking about? Guy Forge, you got something going on tomorrow night.
Yo, Morbius, why don't you promote our whatnot tomorrow?
Well, come on, Morbius. What's up, man? Somebody's got to sell you those raw books that you buy, dude. Come on now.
Yeah.
Guy Forge, what do you got coming on tomorrow night?
Someone made me go through the attic and go pick some books out. So I'm gonna be selling books tomorrow night. Apparently, some books. I already loaded some stuff in there, so you can go see it and go check it out. But yeah, someone laughed the other day and said I'm going in the attic and I'm gonna pull my books out. I never sell shit, guys. So hey, we're gonna have some fun tomorrow night.
Got to make a little room, right?
Plus we got some giveaways too. I loaded like the giveaways in there too. So why not?
He's like gonna be like Oprah. You get a comic. You get a comic.
Whatnot?
Yeah.
So yeah, and before
and
we
Morbius
wrap up,
is gonna come by. Morbius is gonna be in the chat.
He's gonna come by.
I'll be there definitely. Count on me. I'll be right there.
Because it's more than just sales. You know, we're in there bullshitting and talking about shit like this and bullshit and current events.
If it wasn't for my show, I'll be in there, man.
There you go, my man.
And guys, make sure listen. If you like heated, passionate conversations about comic book collecting, his links in the chat. Make sure you check these guys out because they put on a hell of a show, guys. A hell of a show.
I wanted to laugh because
after the giveaway, I just have one more question for these guys because I know it's getting late. Everybody got work, and I think it's a question I'm dying to know that I never asked either of them, and all the times we chilled at cons and stuff. But
we went around the horn twice.
Yeah.
We went around the horn twice, and I never got to say my opinion on any of it. So,
what'd you say, guy?
No, I'm telling Jay, I said we went around the horn twice to find out opinions, and I never got my opinion out there. So let me just say my opinion.
Go ahead. Go ahead. My bad, bro.
So no, you're fine. But we're talking about like slabbing stuff and why slabbing stuff sometimes, everything like that too. And I wanted to throw out there. I'm going to ask Jay. You have X-Men 184 slabbed or no?
No, not a 184. No, I have X-Men. I have X-Men
because why would you? That's my point. So I have X-Men 184 slabbed. Matt, do you have X-Men 184 slabbed?
I think I got 2 of them.
Yeah, of course. Because it's the first appearance of Forge. This is the point I'm just trying to make and get my point across. No, it's not always about the money too. Like, that's just a passionate book of mine. Like, do I have like 12 other copies of it too? Yeah, I do. But I have one slabbed at a 9.8 because you know what? I want that book perfect. I want to look at it perfect. And I have others I want to read too. But like, I see it perfect up there and I look at it and I go, you know what? First appearance of Forge. That's cool. That's my personal like thing. Like, you know, that's me. Like, so that's why I like it. Everyone has their own way of doing it, and do it the way you want to do it. Just have fun with it, and don't be a dickhead. That's all. That's exactly. all. That's all. I look at it like have fun with it.
I like
exactly.
that.
Have fun with it.
Don't
do it the way you want to do it. Don't be a dickhead.
You could be an asshole. Just don't be a dickhead.
Sure. No, assholes are welcome.
I like that.
There's a big difference.
Assholes are welcome.
Assholes, right here all day.
And guys, we got a winner.
We're all assholes.
We're all assholes, bro.
We got a winner.
And you guys know this winner because he was dressed as Professor X.
Spider Paul, brother. Hit us up. You know how to get a hold of us. You just won the Virgin. That's from the Defects, but right now, CLG is going to be giving away the Chromium, the top dog of this group. So let's do that. Should we just run CLG again? We might as well.
Just CLG.
I got work at 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
so
we gotta get going.
Just hashtag CLG.
There you go. So we're gonna do that again, but don't write it yet.
Write it when you see it, guys. Otherwise,
write it when you see it. This is for the Chromium. Again, wait for that message to drop. What happened? Did we lose it? Good. All right, there you go. So hashtag CLG.
And you know what, Morbius?
Yes, sir.
Guy.
I heard you were gonna do an impromptu freestyle.
Actually, I heard the opposite, that I wasn't. We gotta give this giveaway.
That you weren't. He was a slabber, so now you
right.
Yeah,
so it's a giveaway right now. We need to focus on. So let's.
No, they're focusing on it. They got it. Look.
No. We need to just stay right here. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I've had a little too many sips.
All good, brother. All
It's
good.
gonna be all over the place.
You can
I
break
love
out
it.
the crazy drunken style. We'll check
Crazy
it out.
drunken style, exactly.
So
You
guys,
know?
while we're waiting for CLG to give this book away, let's give CLG a little shout out. I'm dropping his link in the chat there. If you're interested in these books for any reason, whether it's to support, whether it's to read, whether it's to speculate because maybe it's going to be worth more one day when it comes out in a film, you got any reason, go see my man CLG. He's got them available on his IG. Check them out. I just dropped it in the chat. It's linked in the description below. So I'm sure you can find a good reason to hit up my man CLG and check out one of these books from him, because honestly, Ryan Brown did a great cover, and CLG really did a great job just putting the whole thing together. Because let me tell you something, there's a lot of work that goes into doing an exclusive by yourself, and he really he took it on all by himself, which is a big burden financially and time wise, and it came out great. So congratulations on this, brother, and I wish you the best of luck with it.
And go follow CLG too. He's on
give him a
Whatnot
follow
as well. Yeah.
Good member, bro. Good member of the community, and that's all that really
He's
matters.
been with the Defects since Jump Street. So.
Yes, sir. All right, we got about 3 seconds, so we're about to be out of here.
Good luck. Good luck.
Let me see. Fucking hitting all the wrong buttons here. Let me pick a winner.
And by the
Picking
way,
a
we got a
winner.
couple super chats during the night. So
We
thank
did.
you guys.
It was a crazy night. This was a great night. though.
YKRP, you
Great
have
night,
won, bro.
guys.
Congrats. There you go.
YKRP.
Great
I know I've seen
fucking
that
night.
name in the chat
Not
before.
WKRP, YKRP.
Yeah. So I know you've been in the chat before, so I appreciate you, dude. Hit us up on IG or hit us up at pressabledefects@gmail.com, and we'll make sure we get your address over to CLG, and he's going to send you out the Chromium, dude. All right.
Maddie, before Jay asks his last question, I think you got to play something. Just
Give him a
because
quick-
one our special guests need to experience
True.
sometimes why we're here and what our super chats actually pay for.
Something we could all agree on.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
something-
go.
We don't have to slab this. This comes raw as you can.
This
you
is
can get it,
raw as it
Morbius.
gets.
So there's no
That's the way
slab
we
in
like
here.
it.
I'll tell you that much.
We
Make it rain on me, Defects. Yeah. I can feel it. More.
There you
There you
go.
go.
More.
All right,
That's
guys.
definitely-
Before we get out of
Definitely
here,
slab worthy.
Slab word.
slam worthy.
that was slab worthy.
Yeah. Put a bag on it. It's bag worthy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before we get out of here, guys, I want to thank you guys so much. We always chill. We always vibe at these cons, no matter what your opinion on. You know
Hell
what I'm
yeah.
saying? We always
Hell yeah,
kick it for the greater cause.
that's right.
Appreciate you guys coming on. Always love seeing you guys and hanging out with you guys. You're welcome here anymore. Love the passion both of you guys bought, backing up your support for whatever you collect in. Like you guys
right.
stand your ground without a doubt. You like you said, Morbius. You stand in your box.
That's
Gotta
right.
ask you. We'll start with Morbius. I was gonna say we'll make it a two-part question. Favorite book in your collection, Raw, and most expensive book. Unless it's the same.
Nah, I can't tell you what my most expensive book is because I really don't judge my books based on value. It's just books that I enjoy. You know, I think one of my books has to be my limited series Wolverine 1 through 4. That has that series right there to me is pinnacle, you know, in my growing up. And outside of that, it has, as you want to call value, to me what's valuable is my Web of Spider-Man run, because that's the first run I collected when I was 10 years old. I started my Web of Spider-Man. Web of Spider-Man #1 was the first book I picked up off the rack. That was, I could tell you, 1985, the summer of June. You know, my brother took me to the comic shop and he was like, yeah, pick a book. And that was my first book off the rack, was Web of Spider-Man #1. And I just fell in love with that book. So those, you know, Wolverine, the limited series, and Web of Spider-Man #1, and plus that whole run to me is like, that's just gold to me. So, you know, I can't really say value, but as far as what means to me is those two books, right? Like, you know, those two runs right there is what makes
a real collector's answer right there, folks.
Appreciate
Paul,
you,
same thing for you, bro.
I mean, well, as far as value, probably my X-Men 1, I would imagine, is
Right.
Fake
That's what I'm
collector, get
selling
him
it.
out of here.
Get him out of here. He's
I
not
do
real.
have one. I
You know
do
what,
have
Paul? I
one
disown
slab.
you. We are done here. It is
Close, I do have one.
Get him out.
And that's wait. I was gonna ask, is that book raw or slabbed?
Nope, that is slab. But listen, it's available.
Oh.
So if someone wants to come at me with a suitable raw copy, you know, we can make it happen. But
There you go.
I'm not.
Put him in a fucking bench.
Get him out.
Don't he sound like the
No,
fucking
it's not.
Sopranos?
It's
Don't
not
he
my
fucking
favorite
sound
book, though.
Favorite book? You have
So
it.
what you got?
It's not my
Favorite.
favorite book. My favorite book is probably, I mean, I always say it. Now, Giants of X-Men 1, but not the actual Giants of X-Men 1, because I couldn't have that when I was a kid. It was too expensive even back then. The X-Men Special Edition from 1983, I believe,
There
which
you go.
reprinted the Giant Size X-Men 1. And
That's
then
right.
Classic X-Men came out in 86. So,
Yo, that classic.
but anyway, I love the story in Giants of X-Men 1. It's great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
in addition to obviously it became a mega book, but way back in the day, it actually wasn't. X-Men 94 was like the superior
higher
book,
book.
to Giant Size X-Men 1.
All right, good answers. Good answers all around tonight. All right, I think we're good. Jay, Guy, you got anything?
Fitzgerald, hold on. We got to give it, Fitzgerald
What's he
calling you
say?
out, son. He said he exposed, son. Fitzgerald.
Well, I got fucking
Shout out to
10,000
Fitzgerald.
pounds. I got one slab.
That's
Sorry.
homie right there.
I
That's
cracked out
homie right there.
fucking 500 of them. I mean, which one is it? Sorry, I got one slab. You got
Guy,
me.
what do you got before we get out of here?
Nothing. Come by tomorrow night, guys, and whatnot. Should be fun.
It's gonna be a fun time. But make sure you're bookmarking the shows. You know that helps us out a lot. Jay, what do you got, brother?
Nah, I said it, man. Appreciate you guys. Love the heated, passionate conversation. Guys, I'll see you around. Have a good
Terrific
night,
con.
everybody. Rangers lost, I guess. I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
If they're playing next Monday night, I'll see you 2 weeks from now.
There you go.
And we never
Morbius.
reported these labels, guys. Don't get mad. We never.
Yeah,
I
Look
would
at that.
report either, to be
Fucking the
honest with
census.
you.
We
Fucking the
don't-
census.
the
The
up.
census is all fucked up because of us.
Oh, I love it. Morbius, PJ, I appreciate you both being on here.
Thank you,
Links
guys.
are in the
Appreciate you, guys.
description.
Really do.
Appreciate you having me on.
Guys, hit the thumbs up on the way out. Hit that sub button if you are new.
Go
And
check
we really
them out.
appreciate check them out, definitely. And I appreciate you guys hanging in there, watching tonight. This was a fun show for sure. So
Definitely.
we'll get them back on at some point. We need a little breather though, you know.
Oh, yeah. Man, I'm inviting you to the show.
Let's go. I'm coming on.
You coming on. You got to
All right,
come
brother.
on, bro. Everyone else, but you got to go
There
on.
you go.
Man,
All right, guys.
especially.
We'll catch you
Exactly.
next week.